Some glaciers in Alaska are starting to grow again after years of declining. New report, scientists, the largest buildup in years. 200 years of glacial shrinkage in Alaska, and then came the winter and summer of 2007 to 2008. Unusually large amounts of winter snow were followed by unusually chilly temperatures in June, July, and August. In mid-June, there was still snow at sea level in Prince William Sound, said one U.S. Geological Survey scientist. On the Juneau icefield, there was still approximately 20 feet of new snow on the surface of the Taku Glacier in late July. At Bering Glacier, a landslide that was being studied, located at about 1,500 feet elevation, it did not become snow-free until early August. And in general, the weather this last summer was the worst in at least 20 years. Never before in the history of a research project dating back to 1946 had the Juneau icefield witnessed the kind of snow buildup that came this year. It was similar on a lot of other glaciers too. It's been a very long time on most glaciers where they've actually had positive mass balance, said the scientist. That's the way a scientist says the glaciers got thicker in the middle. Mass balance is the difference between how much snow falls every winter and how much snow fades away each summer. For most Alaska glaciers, the summer snow loss has for decades exceeded the winter snowfall. The result has put the state's glaciers on a long-term diet, and now every year they lose the snow of the previous winter plus some of the snow from years before, and so, in turn, they steadily shrink. Since Alaska's glacial maximum back in the 1700s, the scientist said, I figure that we've lost about 15% of the total area. What might be the most notable long-term shrinkage has occurred at Glacier Bay, now the site of a national park in southeast Alaska. When the first Russian explorers arrived in Alaska in the 1740s, there was no Glacier Bay at all. There was simply a wall of ice across the north side of Icy Strait. Then that ice retreated to form a bay in what is now known as the Muir Glacier. And from the 1800s until now, the Muir Glacier just kept retreating and retreating and retreating some more. It is now back approximately 57 miles from the entrance to the bay, said Tom Mandenberg, a chief ranger at Glacier Bay. That's farther from the distance from glacier-free Anchorage to Girdwood, where 7 glaciers overhang the valley surrounding the state's largest ski area. And so the glaciers there, like the Muir and hundreds of other Alaskan glaciers, have been part of the long retreat. And overall, scientists figure Alaska has lost 10,000 to 12,000 square kilometers of ice in just the past 2 centuries, enough to cover an area nearly the size of Connecticut. And scientists have just completed a major study of Alaska glaciers using satellite images and aerial photographs to catalog shrinkage. The 550-page Glaciers of Alaska will provide a benchmark for tracking what happens to the state's glaciers in the future. There is a possibility that with global warming, being how that the Earth is a living being of some kind in some great big way, just like the sun, just like it says in the Holy Bible, the New Testament, there are different forms of beings and creatures. And it's possible that global warming, by man heating up the atmosphere, increasing the temperature, the mean temperature of the Earth, that could possibly trigger a new ice age, a new age of glaciers, growing rapidly. Yes, ice ages, they can come on quite swiftly, quite suddenly. There is evidence of that in the geological past. So again, it is possible that all the global warming and climate change could actually force or tip the Earth into a new ice age. There is that possibility. And that would be bad too, whether it's warming or cooling. The Earth is a very balanced being. It is an actual living being in some kind of way. And it's very possible because the Earth is in a very delicate balance, a very special balance, tipping it either way. And scientists and people, they don't understand exactly climate. They don't really understand the climate yet, the whole totality of the weather and how everything works together on Earth. The atmosphere, the oxygen, the ozone, the insides of the Earth, the magma, the magnetic poles, the magnetic polar shifts. They don't understand all these things yet. There's a lot more to be known. And a major study has just been completed of Alaska glaciers using satellite images and aerial photographs to catalog shrinkage. The 550-page Glaciers of Alaska will provide a benchmark for tracking what happens. Again, what's going to happen to all the state's glaciers? Well, in the future. That's a very important thing to know. Climate change has led to speculation they might all disappear. That's possible too. Either way, it's an unbalancing of the Earth. Molina, the scientist, isn't sure what to expect. As far as glaciers go, he said, Alaska's glaciers are volatile. Yes, volatile, just like the stock market lately. They live life on the edge. What we're talking about to change most of Alaska's glaciers is just a small temperature change either way. Just a small fraction of a degree change makes a big or a huge difference. It's the mean annual temperature. That's the big thing. That's the key. All it takes is a warm summer to have a really dramatic effect on the melting, or a cold or cool summer to shift that mass balance the other way. Here are more signs. Snow socks in northern plains. Blizzard dumps up to 40 inches. A wintry blast of punishing wind and more than 3 feet of snow in places pummeled the northern plains on Thursday, knocking out power to thousands and forcing highways to close. As much as 40 inches of snow fell in higher elevations of western South Dakota's Black Hills as the unusual early season blizzard caused havoc and chaos. Drifts as deep or as high as 6 feet covered roads. It's a raging blizzard out there, said one meteorologist with the National Weather Service office in Rapid City. Weather problems halted or disrupted traffic on interstates 80, 90, and 94 in the Dakotas, Nebraska, and Wyoming. In Rapid City, a wind gust of at least 78 miles per hour was measured late Wednesday, and gusts of 60 miles per hour or more were reported Thursday morning. The snow fell at a rate of 3 inches an hour overnight. It slacked off to 1 to 2 inches per hour late Thursday morning. More than 10,000 customers lost power at some point in Nebraska and South Dakota. In North Dakota, parts of Dunn County received at least 9 inches of snow. The wind is blowing so hard, it's hard to tell how much snow we even got, said a street superintendent in Bowman, North Dakota. We have at least 4-foot drifts in some places. A very early season blizzard. This could be connected to how the glaciers could possibly start to increase. Because people don't really know or understand the climate or weather or global warming that well. It could tip us into a new ice age, or it could go the other way also. And all these are more signs of the end times, transition days. Yes, real change is coming. rapidly.